Hello there, South Aiken family. This is Sam Fuller, principal at South Aiken. And I want to come to you today to really reiterate and talk about some of the things that we've seen and just make sure that we as a school finish this 2020-2021 school year strong. It's springtime, and a lot of these issues are normally ironed out in the fall. But as you know, 2020-2021 has been far from the normal school year. So even though, like I said, we normally try to iron a lot of these things in the fall, we're going to come back and hit them hard right now to make sure that we finish strong. These are some of the things that the South Aiken administration, teaching staff, faculty, staff, and everybody have seen that we need to make sure that we go over and talk about. And please bear with us. Make sure you watch the whole video as we talk about some of the policy procedures and things that we want to see academically, socially, emotionally, behaviorally to make sure that we are being the best thoroughbreds that we could possibly be. As many of you always know, when you watch these videos, we talk about code of conduct, we talk about discipline, things of that nature. Tardies are always our #1 referral producer. Being late to class, being late to school. We want to make sure that we remind everyone that the school day starts at 8:20 and has started at 8:20 every year since I've been at South Aiken. 8:20 is when the tardy bell rings for the start of the school day. But we have started seeing students be later and later, and we've seen more and more students be late to school. And because of that, we are also reinstituting our 8:30 policy, meaning that if you arrive to school after 8:30, you will be sent to ISS. Okay, once again, if you arrive to school after 8:30, you will be sent to ISS for the remainder of first period. Okay, you'll still get to go to second period, but you'll be sent there for the remainder of first period. That will also be considered a class cut because, again, that's our school day. If you can't get here by 8:30, that's cutting. All right. We are also doing the same thing in regards to the rest of the school day. If you are more than 5 minutes late for your 2nd through 7th period class, you'll be sent to ISS for the remainder of that period as well, and that would be considered a class cut as well. Okay, so please make sure you get to class on time. Get to class on time. That's always going to be a big deal. Now, this policy also, where we're talking about at the end of the school day as well, was instituting our hall pass blackout policy. What that means is the first 5 minutes of class and the last 5 minutes of class. First 5 minutes and last 5 minutes, no hall passes will be written by teachers for students to exit class. Okay, once again, first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes, no hall passes will be written by teachers for students to exit class. And this is all except for the last period of day, 7th period, which is the last 15 minutes, which will be indicated by a single tone bell. The last 15 minutes of the school day, no hall passes will be written for students to exit class because, again, we're trying to finish that school day strong, make sure that we're focused and kids aren't out walking the halls during those last 15 minutes. Parents, we're going to ask for your help with this as well. We're asking that you please do not try to sign your kid out after 3:15. The bell's going to ring in 15 minutes. Unless it's an extreme emergency, please do not try to sign your kid out after 3:15. Now, we talk about tardies a lot, but there are 3 reasons why we want to make sure that we reiterate tardies. First, our goal is to prepare you for the post-secondary world, whether it be college, whether it be the workforce, the military, whatever. Our goal is to prepare you for that. And ask your parents, ask your guardians, how often can they be late to work and still continue to have a job? We don't want you developing bad habits to think that you can just be late and there's nothing going on, and there's nothing going to happen. Okay? So please be on time. Your parents will tell you, your guardians tell you that they can't be late. They can't be late 5 days in a row, 6 days in a row, 7 days in a row and still think they're going to have a job. Okay? And we're preparing you for post-secondary success. 2, students arriving late is a disruption to class. Teachers already started, work has already started. Arriving after 5 minutes, arriving after 10 minutes, things of that nature, it disrupts the class. That teacher has to go take that time, that effort to go over and start back over instruction with just that 1 student or 2 students or however many students are late. So it's a disruption to class. And if you miss that class, guess what we've got? We've got powwows. So you can go back and get that work made up. You can go back and get that instruction that you missed. All right. Um, and then also, uh, there's more than enough time for you to get to class. Okay, once again, getting there by 8:30 is important in the middle of the day. I mean, the morning to start the day. Also, getting there, you got 5 minute transition time between classes, and then you're talking about 5 minutes to get there before you have to be sent to ISS. That's 10 minutes. That's plenty of time for you to be on time. Okay, so please, once again, make sure you're on time to class. Okay, next up is dress code. And once again, spring is in the air. We've got the birds chirping, we've got the bees buzzing, and all those things. And it's getting a little warmer outside, but we still must make sure that we are complying with Aiken County Public School District Code of Conduct and our dress code rules. Okay? So, when we're talking about dress code, holes in clothing more than 3 inches above the knee, which is the length of your student ID card. Okay? And clothing that stops more than 3 inches above the knee are not allowed. The same also applies for leggings, shirts that show the stomach, exposed shoulders. Those things are not allowed. Now, I know some of the ladies are sitting here thinking that Mr. Fuller is targeting them. No. Okay, we do have a fair number of male students who also fall into these categories as far as the holes, clothing being too short, things of that nature. We do have those things as well. So I am talking to both male and female students. Remember, 3 inches above the knee in regards to holes above the, no holes, 3 inches above the knee, the length of your clothing, things of that nature. Please make sure you're following that. All right. Hats, hoods, either fully on or like some of y'all like to wear, like partially on. Okay, sunglasses are not allowed in the building from the time you enter to the time you leave. Once again, hats, hoodies, sunglasses are not allowed to be on from the time you enter to the time you leave. Okay, these items will be confiscated if they are seen on. Once again, these items will be confiscated if they are seen on. What we've seen a fair amount of is you will see either myself or another administrator, and you will try to take it off really quickly, pull it back really quickly, something of that nature. If it is seen on, it's confiscated. For you to take it off when you see me or my administrator means that you know what the rule is and you're choosing to violate it. Please make sure you do the things necessary and don't violate in those little small areas and just try to find a way to skirt around the rules. Okay? Keep those things off from the time you enter the building to the time you leave. All right? And if those things are confiscated, okay, they will have to be picked up by a parent. Once again, if those things are confiscated, they will have to be picked up by a parent. So let's just avoid all of that. Okay, let's avoid all of that and just comply and do the little things to be necessary to be successful. Also, cell phones and earbuds are also something that are very important that we need to make sure that we're addressing. Okay, you are allowed to have your cell phone. You're allowed to text before school, between classes, and during powwow. Before school, between classes, and during powwow. You're allowed to have your cell phone out and you're allowed to text. You are not allowed to have conversations on your cell phone during those times. Only you're allowed to have your cell phone out and you're allowed to be on it and texting before school, between classes, and during powwow. Okay? You are not allowed to have your cell phones out in class unless you are given specific permission by your teacher for academic work. Once again, you're allowed to have your cell phone out in class only if given specific permission by your teacher to do academic work. If it is not given, you are not allowed to have your cell phone out in class. Okay? Now, earbuds and headphones. Okay? You're not allowed to have those on or in your ear unless it is before school or during powwow. Once again, earbuds, headphones before school or during powwow. Again, to make sure that you can hear instructions. We don't want a teacher or myself trying to tell you something you can't hear. Okay? So only before school and during powwow. All right? And again, if these items are seen or misused, they will be confiscated. Okay? Next up is food deliveries, drop-offs, door dashes, Uber Eats, and all those kinds of things. Students are not allowed to receive food deliveries of any kind. Okay? And parents, once again, we're asking for your help in this matter. Please do not order food to be sent here for your kid or drop off food for your kid or things of that nature. Unless, again, we know things happen and kid forgets it, you forget to pack it, and you need to drop it by. We understand those things. Okay? We're not saying that a kid just doesn't need to eat. All right? But we're not trying to manage and hold on to all of these door dashes and deliveries and things of that nature. Okay? So please, pack it before school. Send your money with your child. And honestly, right now, let me make sure I clarify this. There is no charge this year for school lunch or breakfast. Once again, there's no charge for school lunch or breakfast. So your child can't eat here at no charge. Okay? So please, once again, none of those food deliveries or anything of that nature. We have a great staff in our front office, and we don't want them to have to go through that whole process on a daily basis, in and out of managing this delivery, that delivery, also who's coming into the building, things of that nature. There's a lot that's going on as far as the school, and that's one of the things that we don't want to put on them as well. Also, students, please do not try to circumvent the system and say, you know what, they don't let them come in the main office, so I'm gonna have it delivered to another part of the building. That will result in school discipline. Okay, that will result in school discipline. So please don't try and circumvent the system as well. Last but also most importantly is academics. Studying, schoolwork, bookwork, whatever you want to call it. All right. We know this 2020-2021 school year has been trying on everybody. Students, parents, teachers, guardians, everybody. It's been trying for all of us. But now that we're attending 5 days a week, we are going to need our students put forth a lot more effort than we have seen thus far this year. Let me be abundantly clear. This year, again, has been different, has been challenging, and we made adjustments. One of the adjustments that the administration, South Lake administration, teachers agreed upon before the start of the school year, especially when we were in the hybrid attendance model, was that we were going to count formative assessments, which is your homework, as 60% of your overall grade, of your 9 weeks grade, and summative assessments, which are your tests, as 40% of your overall grade. Okay, so what does that mean? That means if you turn in all of your homework assignments, I can almost guarantee that you will pass a class for the year. I'm not saying it's going to be like that every year, but again, we were in the hybrid attendance model. We placed an emphasis on making sure students were doing their homework. Also, because we were going to school 2 days a week, we did not want to lose out on instructional time with tests, and especially when you're only here 2 days a week and you're taking a test one of the 2 days. We didn't want to do that. Okay, so that's why we changed our numbers around, because it used to be 60% summative and 40% formative. But again, we changed it because, again, we were in the hybrid model, we were doing all these things, and we're keeping that going. All right, but you got to make sure you're doing your homework. The majority of struggling students that we see academically have multiple zeros and for homework assignments. And I've told you straight up, do your homework. I can almost guarantee you a passing grade. But you have to put forth the effort. You have to hold yourself accountable. And to go along with that, we have Power Hour. South Aiken is unique in that you have the ability to receive assistance from all of your teachers, get tutoring, have study time during the middle of the school day without having to get here before school or stay after school to get all that stuff done. We have Power Hour, which is an hour for you to get all of this done. There are zero excuses for you all not to turn in work. All right? We are here to see you successful. Okay? We're here to see you successful. But we have seen far too many students not taking advantage of these resources that we have laid out for you. You have to put forth more effort. Okay? And again, I'm not talking to everybody. There are a lot of students. Let me be clear that there are a lot of students who have taken advantage of Power Hour, who have done what they need to do, and have done a great job. And for you, I commend you for your effort, and I appreciate you, and I want you to keep going and keep moving forward and keep doing those things that will see you successful, both in high school and after high school. So let's not dwell on some of the negative things. There are many of you who are doing those things. Okay? And I don't sometimes we don't spend enough time telling you that you're doing a great job. But you're doing a great job. You're turning in your homework. You're studying for your tests. You're doing your assignments. You're doing these things. You're going to see your teacher doing Power Hour. You're getting tutored. You're doing test retakes. You're doing all those things to be successful. And we appreciate the effort that you're doing there. But some of your cohorts, some of your friends aren't doing those things. And we want to make sure that we're imploring them to do those little things necessary so they can be successful as well. I know this was a lot to discuss, but know this: everything we are doing, everything we're talking about, is all about you being successful, both in school and after you graduate. The whole goal is to take care of business, do the little things, be successful, so you can walk across that stage and shake my hand, and I can tell you good job, and then you can move on to the next phase of life. Okay, so yes, we talked about consequences, we talked about discipline, we talked about policy, we talked about procedures, things of that nature. But know this, and your parents, your older siblings, they can all attest to this. You are going to, in order to work a job, be in the military, go to college, do anything to be successful, in order to eat, you need to have money. Okay? In order to have money, you're probably going to have to do something that you don't want to do every day. Okay? I am not a morning person. My wife will attest to that. I do not like getting up in the mornings. Though you may see me come to school with my bow tie on and all those kinds of things, it is a struggle daily to get here. But I do it because that is my job and I want to see you successful. You will also, at some point in time in your life, have to do something that you do not desire to do. But in order to maintain a job, in order to be successful, in order to get some of the things you want in life, you're going to have to do something that you don't feel like at that point in time. I know I'm a little heavy set. I'm a little chunky. Okay? And I need to work out more. I don't like doing it. But in order to get those results, I have to do it. Okay? So right now, we're preparing you for that. Make that decision. Persevere. Push through. The little things that you don't feel like doing are there to help make you be successful and to build good habits in you. Start those good habits now and keep those good habits going for the rest of your life. This is the training stage. This is when you get better. This is when you learn how to push through and persevere when you're not feeling like doing it. Learn those lessons now. Academically, code of conduct, behaviorally, all those things. Learn those lessons now. Because I definitely don't want you having to learn them later on when you're talking about having to feed your family or feed a child. Okay? So, it's always going to be this. We're always here to support you. We're always here to make sure that you're being successful. So, remember this as always. Every thoroughbred, every day. All means all.